ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 6th chapter, verse number 40. This chapter is giving the reply to Vidura's question by Maitreya Rishi, and this is the last verse. And in this chapter he described mainly the creation, because in the previous chapter there was a description of cosmic Purusha, Virat Purusha, which came into existence by the glance of the Lord and influence of time, but the elements were not able to come together, so the elements personified, they prayed, and then Lord put his uniting potency so that the creation began. And there was a whole description of various senses, sense objects and their powers which became manifest. And then the 3 planetary systems, and then the 4 varnas. And in conclusion he said that it is not possible to describe the pastimes of the Lord because they are unlimited, and Lord himself does not know the end of his qualities and his activities. Yet we should try to understand with our own facility and faculties which we have, and this is the only way to purify our existence. So he spoke specifically that our senses, which are now engaged only in thinking of material objects, they can only be purified if we engage them in the service of the Lord. And these 2 senses of hearing and speech are very important, because most of our business is conducted with this. We hear and we speak, and this is what makes us different from other species of life, because they are very limited in their hearing and hardly any speech. So he says that if we can do kirtan about Lord's qualities and activities, then all other senses will naturally become purified. So So it's a very interesting phenomena how the human being functions in the material world. Because the soul by itself is not capable of getting any knowledge. It has the potential for knowledge, it has the potential to enjoy, it has the potential to act. But without a physical body in this material world, there is nothing it can do. On the other hand, material nature does not have any capacity to act, to know, or to desire. It is inert and has no consciousness. Yet these two things, when they come in together, and this is the whole description here, that by the power of the Lord they come together and they are able to function, they are able to cooperate. But still, this dichotomy remains, that one is the actual person who has the desire, potency to enjoy and act and know. And the knowing, acting, desiring, everything happens in matter. Krishna has very clearly described this in Bhagavad Gita. Chadvesh sukham dukkham sangatas chetanam dhriti iti kshetram samasena savikaram bhavu. Says that thoughts, desires, emotions such as happiness, misery, pleasure, pain, and even he said chetana, consciousness, they are all part of the field, the kshetra, the physical body. So it is interesting that it is physical body which is having the consciousness, and consciousness means to be aware of something. And what is that something is also matter. So matter actually makes two divisions, becomes the knower and also the known. And yet this division is not possible without the presence of the soul. So this is the thing which is very confusing, and all philosophers have spoken about this. How does this function? Because the whole idea is how we can extricate ourselves from this mess in which we are at present. Because the senses, they have the natural ability to go towards the sense objects. As Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, Indriyasya indriyasya arthe raga dvesa vyavasthita. Not only that raga and dvesa, attachment and dislike, are in our mind or in our chitta or in our heart, but they are also in the senses. Senses have natural liking or averseness for their respective objects. So every sense has a particular sense object which it perceives, and in that perception it always makes two divisions of raga and dvesha. Something it is attracted to and something it is repelled to. So this duality exists at the level of sense itself. And then whenever there is a sense perception, then sense object is only, basically the sense takes the form of the sense object. It's like you want to receive a message from a radio station. So then you have to tune your radio to that particular frequency. So same thing is also happening. Our senses are just like radio, and objects have their frequency, because sound is a frequency, and when we see something, it is basically seeing light, form or color is light. That is another type of frequency. And similarly, we have not studied, but probably the taste is also another type of frequency. Everything seems like everything is just a vibration, and vibration, according to what is the frequency of that vibration, then it can become taste or sound or sight or touch. And a particular sense functions in a particular range of frequency. So it has to tune to that, to taste it, or to hear it, or to see it. And when it tunes, then it knows that this is the taste, or this is the color, or this is the sound. So this is how the perception occurs. So basically the sense and sense object, they become one. So that's why a sense which is sensing a particular object belongs to the same material element. If our nose is smelling, and smell is the quality of the earth, as we read, then nose is also an earthly element. And if eye is seeing, and form is the quality of fire or Tejas Tattva, then eye is also Tejas Tattva. So because it has to perceive that particular element, so it has to be of that category. And when they come in contact with each other, then the mind has to come in contact. And mind has the range of all the frequencies. Because our individual sense only has a particular frequency range in which it can only smell or see or taste or touch or hear. But mind has the whole frequency range because it has to sense everything. It has to sense the taste, also has to sense the form and the sound. So then mind also becomes at that frequency level.
To that sense, particular sense?
Yes. So it is said that the sense becomes the mind. And because there has to be, again, just like the sense is tuning with the sense object, now the mind has to tune with the sense object, sense. Then only mind can sense. So there is a harmony. And when this harmony is there, then there is a sense perception. But there are problems in this sense perception. And first of all, our senses, why it was said that we should engage our speech and hearing, because our mind is very much following these senses, especially hearing and form also same. So if we can control them, then mind becomes controlled because they are interrelated. A sense cannot function without the help of the mind. If mind is somewhere else, then you don't perceive. So if we are speaking, then it is impossible that you speak and your mind is wandering somewhere else. You have to be aware of what you are saying. And same with hearing. It is possible that I am sitting here and I am sitting, so my body is touching this bed on the seat. But really speaking, I am not aware of it all the time. I may be touching my hands here and there. Only what we are not aware, but speech or hearing, we have to be. We are more involved. So if we can engage them, and since they already have their raga and dvesha, their divisions, then naturally they will run to their sense objects. So if we have to purify them, then the way is to fix them in the Lord. And he said in the previous verse, he spoke about Maya, that Ato Bhagavato Maya, Mayinamati Mohini, that Lord's Maya is such that it bewilders. Because the next thing is that when our sense along with the sense object come in contact with the mind, then perception occurs. But perception occurs, and that is not the only thing we know, then we interpret it. And this interpretation is where the Maya comes into picture. Because we also have inside raga and dvesa, not only the senses have raga and dvesa. And then according to raga and dvesa, so the sense will only run to the sense object because it likes, or it will repel if it does not like. But then inside the interpretation is done, and then action is taken based on that. And that's where the problem is really rooted. Because the decision making occurs in the inner senses. So when he said that Bhagavato Maya Mayinamati Mohini, that Maya of the Lord bewilders even those who think that they are the masters of Maya. So because this Maya is inside and we don't know how it is working. If it was something external, then we could do something about it. But there is a saying in Hindi that Sarso mein bhoot, these exorcists in the village, when somebody is possessed by a ghost, so to dispel the ghost they use sesame seed and this mustard seeds. Because there is a belief that ghosts, they don't like mustard seeds. And if you throw mustard seeds around, they will not come near you. But what if the ghost is actually in the mustard seed itself sitting? Then you cannot remove the ghost. So there is a saying that if the ghost is inside the mustard seed, then you cannot use that mustard seed to remove the ghost. It is already in. So like that, the Maya is sitting inside our mind and the chitta, with which we perceive and we make decisions. So then how we can become free from that? So it is not possible. And that's why the only solution is to go to the real master of Maya, so that he can inspire from within. So that is his conclusion, which is the last verse of this chapter, where he says, Yato prapya nivartante vachascha mansasaha aham channe me devas tasmai bhagavate namaha. So he says that all we can do is pay our respects to the Lord. And basically that's all is really needed. We have been coming to that conclusion everywhere, that the real conclusion is to surrender to the Lord. So he says, I pay my respects to that Lord to whom all these devas, they are surrendered, and our body, our speech and mind cannot reach him. Because speech and mind, they are material things. If mind cannot approach him, then there is no possibility of speech, because speech is only speaking what we understand through our mind. So for that he says that I just pay my respects to him. And this is how he concludes this chapter. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Ato Durgayatvam eva sthapen namaskara. So after establishing that it is very difficult to understand the Lord, then he surrenders and he pays respect. Aprapya antam alabdhva yata sakasa nivartate vachah samasti vastinam sarvesham api vagendriyani mansa sahayati manamsi. So he says that no one can find the end of the Lord, and therefore the speech returns from him, and speech of both the individual beings and the cosmic being, because even the cosmic person cannot know him. He was also unable to function without the grace of the Lord. So along with the mind has the great ability that it can conceive things which may not be physically present. It can think of places which may be far away, but even that mind is unable to reach him. Kutaha aprapya. Why it returns? Not finding it. यह नाम रूप चरित्रादि नाम सम्यक माधुर्य ग्रहण असमर्थात्. Because mind cannot grasp, comprehend the name, form and the character of the Lord in completeness, his sweetness. Aparanam tesham anta prapti asamarthyat. Why? Because they are unlimited, and therefore it is not possible to find their limit. Shrutirapi achaste. Therefore in the Upanishads also there is a statement, yato vacho nivartante aprapti mamsasa. So basically same thing is said there, that speech and mind return from him. Atra apadana nirdesha eva वाग मनस संश्लेष प्रत्यायको निवृत्तिस्तु अनंतत्वेन प्रमातुम अशक्यत्वादिति. He makes a very nice observation in the statement that it is says that yato aprapya nivartante. This word yato is in the fifth case, and fifth case in Sanskrit is used when one thing separates from another. It's like if you say that the leaf falls from the tree, then vrikshat patram patati or patrani patanti. So here the fifth case is used in the tree vrikshat, because the leaves are falling from the tree. So when it is said that the speech returns along with the mind not attaining him, in that him, fifth case has been used instead of second. So fifth case signifies that it returns, but it reaches him. It's like the leaves fall, means leaves are falling from the tree, that means they are attached to the tree, they are touching the tree and then they are falling down. They are not going above the tree, they are going down. So similarly he says that means that there is a contact of speech and mind with the Lord, but it cannot ascertain the limit. That is the meaning that it returns. So this is basically to refute the idea of impersonalists. Because impersonalists, they say that Brahman is unattainable, unachievable, because it is beyond everything. And nothing can approach him. And they give this sloka or this mantra as a proof for this. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that this fifth case here actually itself signifies that he is approachable. Pramatum ashakyatvad again. Sarvathaiva vagadi agamyatvam tu atmano ne vakhyam. Says we should not explain that Lord is absolutely unapproachable by our speech and mind. That is not proper. Why? Because there are statements also which say Vedaischa sarvair hameva vedya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that from the Vedas I am to be known. That means through the sound or through the speech. And then there is a statement Mansaiva anudrashtavyam kadapramevam dhruvam tad vishnu param padam sada pashyanti suraya. You can turn on this light. So there also it is said that mansa eva anudrashtavyam, that Lord has to be seen with the mind. And as I said before, that if somebody will have darshan of God, then it has to happen only through the mind. It's not going to happen with anything else, because there is no other apparatus to see. He has to be seen, if he is visible externally, then through the eyes and mind, and if he is visible internally, and in case of samadhi, then through the mind. There is no other way. So that is the meaning of mansa eva anudrashtavyam tadapramevam dhruvam. He is immeasurable, eternal, tad vishnu paramam padam sada pashyanti suraya. Iti sruti virodhapate. And the devotees of the Lord, they always see the eternal abode of the Lord Vishnu. So that means he is also visible, approachable. So this is the end of 6th chapter. We come to 7th chapter. Sri Sukha Vacha. Sukadeva Goswami said, Evam Brahmanam Maitreya Dvaipayana Suto Buddhaha Prinyanniva Bharatya Viduraya Pratyabhasata. So when Maitreya spoke like this to Vidura, who is son of Vyasa, here it is said that he is Badara and Sutta, then Vidura, he spoke further, as if he was pleasing him with his speech. So Vidura is going to ask more questions. This dialogue went on for many chapters. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Saptame Bhagavad Jiva Gatan Nyatya Sansaya Chidaha Bhakti Jigyasya Nepi Chatu Prashna Prakirtitaha. In this 7th chapter, there are a lot of questions asked by Vidura in relationship with Lord and the situation of Jiva. Bhagavad Jiva Gatani Gata Anyat Sansachita and Bhakti Jigyasya Annepi. There are also questions in relationship with Bhakti. So that is the subject matter of 7th chapter. Evam Sava etasya sandrashtu shakti sadasadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhu kalavrityatu mayayam gunmayam adhokshaja purushena atma bhutena viryamadhatya viryavan ityadi brahvanam bharatya Brahmanstvaya sansara kupad udhrita eva hamiti madhurya vacha premiyanire. So he says, when he heard all these statements, how Maitreya has described that this is the power of the Lord called Maya, which is both cause and effect. With the help of Maya, he created this world. And he also spoke about time, that how Lord, with his potency of time, he entered into Prakriti in the form of Purusha, that is Virat Purusha, and then impregnated Prakriti, Viryamaditya, Viryavana. So after hearing this, then he spoke to him, Brahman Stoya Samsara Kupad Udhrita Eva Hamiti. He spoke very sweetly. Vidura said that, O sage, you have uplifted me from the well of this material world. And in this way his speech was very pleasing. Vidura Manogata Akshepasya Sahasaiva Matrena Avagatatvan Matreyam Prinitum Asaknuvanityath. So he says that Maitreya, he was able to understand the mind of Vidura, and in this way somehow he said that because the statement here used is Priniyan Eva, as if he was pleasing but not really pleasing. So he says Prinitum Asaknuvan, that he was not able to please him, in the sense that before Vidura could say or glorify, then Maitreya understood him. And he said, okay, stop and ask your questions. So in that sense he's saying premium. So now Vidura, he asks very interesting question. The questions asked by Vidura is really very philosophical, like he had asked in the very beginning where he says Sukhaya karmani karoti loke natat sukham anya doparanam. Why is that people work for happiness but they never achieve it, and they also don't become free from the miseries? This was his first question. So we heard answers. Now he is asking questions based on what he has heard, because he is hearing that Lord is transcendental and Jiva is his energy and Maya is inert potency. So he cannot understand why Lord has to create. Because whenever you do something, there has to be some motive behind it. You have desire to act, desire to achieve something. There is something is lacking in you. So he asks this question. He says, Brahman katham bhagavatas chinmatrasya vikarinaha lilya chapi yujjeran nirgunasya gunakriya. He says, please tell me how it is possible for the Lord, who is chinmatra, who is purely a conscious being, not material, and then therefore he is avikari, does not undergo any transformation. How he can engage in the activities which are related with gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, when he himself is nirguna? And if someone says that he does it for his play, so he says even for his play it is impossible. Why would he perform these activities even for his play? Because he is a nirguna. If somebody is transcendental person, why would he play with matter? So he says Lilaya chapi yujjeran, even as a sport, even for the sake of his fun, how can I understand yujjeran? So this is a question which is always in people's mind. And sometimes the corollary of this question is that if Lord is really merciful and He is really powerful, then why there is suffering in this world? So either there is no God, and we have no problem to ask this question, and if there is God, then He is not in control. And if He is in control, why things are going haywire in this topsy-turvy? Or He is not potent enough to do something, or He is indifferent. Because even if He is in control, He has power, but He is indifferent, so He will not do anything. He is not compassionate, merciful. So his question is even before that to begin with, why does He create? Forget about that people are suffering here and He is not doing anything. Why did He even create it? So somebody says, well, because of His fun, pleasure. Even if you are suffering, He is enjoying. So he says that also does not make sense, because He is Nirguna and He is Chinmatra. He is supposed to be also Aptakam, Atmaram. So it does not make any sense. There is no logic behind it. Why would He create something so inferior? And first of all, He has no gunas in Him. So this is the question he is asking. Chinmatrasya gunaha sattvadyaya kriyaha shishtyadyascha katham. So first of all, He is Chinmatra, which means He is transcendental. So if He is transcendental, means He does not have sattva rajas tamas. That is the meaning of Chinmatra. Matra means only. It is possible that He is Chit and then He also has gunas in Him. But by saying that He is Chinmatra, means only, this excludes any contact or any modes or gunas in His personality. So then how can there be creation of sattva, etc.? And then kriya srishti adesya katham. How can He perform srishti? Because that also is related with guna, and also there is vikara, so there is transformation. अत्र चिद्रूपस्य चिन्मात्रस्य इत्यादिकम् अप्रयुज्य चिन्मयस्य इत्यादिकम् अप्रयुज्य चिन्मात्रस्य इति अवधारणवाची मात्र शब्द प्रयोगात् अचित गंधस्य अपि तत्र राहित्यं बोधितम्. So he says that here the word chinmatra has been used, not chidrupa. Instead of chinmatra, he could have also used chidrupa, that means his form is chit. Or he could have used Chinmaya. You hear this word also, that is Chinmaya. Why Chinmatra has been used? So this is to inform us that there is only Chin. This Matra is a suffix, Matra suffix applied on Chit, which signifies that there is no touch, no mixture, no contact of anything else. So he says, Achit gandhasya api tatra rahityam. There is not even a smell of achit in him. Something which is not conscious, inert, nothing. He is 100% chit personified. So then how can he perform creation? ततश्च सा वा एतस्य इति अनेन सत्वादि गुणमय्या मायाया भगवत शक्तित्वेन उक्तत्वात् शक्तेश्च स्वभिन्नत्व असंभवात् vastuto gunas tadiya eva tasya chinmatratve katham. So his question is that earlier Maitreya spoke this verse, Sava etasya sandrashtu shakti sadsadatmika maya nam mahabhage edam nirmame. That Lord, He created this world with the help of Maya. And Maya is His Shakti. He is the overseer, sandrashtu. He is the supervisor. And His Shakti is Maya. Now he says that there is no difference between Shakti and Shaktiman. If you have energy, then it does not mean that your energy is lying outside you and you are standing here. It's not possible. If you have any energy, it is within you. If you have energy to think, energy to act, energy to digest food, energy to speak, anything, all these energies are within you. They are not outside you. They are part of your Swarupa. So that means this Shakti is also in him, because you yourself said, Maitreya has said this, that it is his Shakti, Sava etasya sandrashtu Shakti, and it is Lord Shakti, this Maya, consisting of three gunas. So he says, then how can you say that he is only Chinmatra? That he is pure consciousness. And there is no touch of inertness in him. This is the first attack. The Akshepa Eka. Then second is Vikara, transformation, modification, change. Tatha vikaro hi kala hetu ko guna dharma eva. So transformation is always caused by time. There is no transformation which happens without time. And transformation is always in matter, in the gunas. So if it is his Shakti, and this Shakti is creating, because he says Kala Vritya tu Mayayam Gunmayam Dokshaja, that Lord created with his time potency changes in Maya, and Maya is his energy. So that means he is undergoing modification. So how do you say that he is avikari? That he does not undergo changes. So it says, Tasya tu chinmatratvad eva avakaritve katham vikara vinjak kriyavattam. So the very statement that he is chinmatra means there is no transformation in him, there is no change in him. So how can he perform action? Because if he is creating, and creation means action, and action means it's something done in time and there is a change. Because you do anything means you are changing something from the present situation to the new situation. Even if you are walking, talking, anything, any action you do, it is a change. Whether the change is physical or mental, it is a change. So he says, this does not make sense. Kriyavatve cha katham avikaritvam iti dvitiya. Therefore the second attack is that if he is performing action, then how can he remain avikari, non-transforming? Nanu evam asambhavanto api gunaha kriyascha tasya svairalilatvat sambhaveyu. Now if someone says or Maitreya says that although what you are saying is right, I accept that such things are not possible, but imagine that Lord can do something impossible, asambhavanto api, and therefore, but he does it for his lila. Says for the sake of his lila, he has guna and kriya. So then for that he says Leelaya Chapi Ujjain, that even for the sake of Leela. Nahi Leelaya iti uktya virodha parihartum shakyate. He says you cannot remove this contradiction simply by saying it is by Leela. So this is not possible. Why? It says tasya tadrish lilyatve gunavatvasya duspariharatvat iti bhava. Says even if he is doing this for the sake of Leela, it is impossible to make him free from the gunas. He still becomes a material person, or at least some part of it. Atra Bhagavata iti visheshyam Bhagavan ek asha idam iti purvokte. So here the word he has used is Bhagavan, and the word Bhagavan itself signifies who has qualities and activities. So he says earlier it was said that in the beginning there was only the Lord, Bhagavan Ek Asidam, and then Sayam Bhagavato Maya iti uprishtaduktesya Bhagavata katham bhutasya chinmatrasya. And later on there is one verse which he will speak. Maitreya Sayam Bhagavato Maya yen nayena viruddhate Iswarasya muktasya karpanyam utbandhanam. And this is the Lord's Maya which functions illogically. So he says that the word Bhagavan, what does it really mean? Because there you said Bhagavan was the only one in the beginning, so from where the Maya has come. Now you will say later on that Maya belongs to Bhagavan, doing all these impossible things. So what kind of a Chinmatra he is, what kind of a conscious person is he? Nacha Bhagavan eva Chinmatro natu bhagiti vachyam. So he says that because the word Bhagavan means one who has Bhaga, possessor of Bhaga. So he says that do you want to say that it is Bhagavan who is Chinmatra, who is conscious, but Bhaga is not conscious? Means what he is trying to say is that Lord is completely conscious, but he possesses energy that is not conscious. So he is Bhagavan like that. Yato bhagasyapi bhagavatvam aprakrtatvam cha Vishnu Purana drishtam. So he says that also is not possible. Because in Vishnu Purana it is said that Lord, when the word Bhagavan is defined in Vishnu Purana, what does the word Bhagavan mean? So there it is said that Bhagavan means one who possesses Bhaga, and all these Bhagas are transcendental, aprakriti. They are not material, they are not inert. So you cannot say that Lord is transcendental, but his energies, his bhagas, his shakti, that is inert. And therefore he can undergo transformation. So he quotes this verse from Vishnu Purana. Jnana Shakti Balaishwarya Virya Tejansi Asheshataha Bhagavad Shabda Vachyani Vina He Gunadibhi. So he says that the word Bhaga means knowledge, power, mental power, controlling power, and physical power, all various types of powers basically. So he says these are called Bhaga and Vina He Gunadibhi. And these powers are devoid of any inferior qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas, etc. These are not the material powers. So there it is clearly said that Lord has powers, they are not material. So that answer cannot be given. Then there is a statement, Deha Dehi Vibhagavatra Neshware Vidyate Kacha. There is no distance in the body and embodied in the Lord. Lord's body and he are not different, so you cannot say that he is transcendental, body is material. It's like we have. Our body is material, but we are transcendental. Uktamataiva bhagshadvachyanam षडैश्वर्याणाम अपि चिन्मात्रम मात्रत्वम एव न तो सत्वादि गुण परिणामत्वम. Therefore, the Aishwarya, the 6 Aishwarya, which are indicated by the word Bhaga, they are all transcendental and they are not transformation of Sattva-guna. Iti Bhagavatvam Swarup Lakshanam eva. Therefore, this Bhagavata is his inner nature. This is his Swarup Lakshanam, means this is his real personality. This is not something external to him. Bhagavattvasya mayikatvat tatastha lakshanam iti vyachakshana bhrantaye. Those who say that Bhagavata or his being Godhood or possessing these energies is because of Maya. This is what impersonalists say. Impersonalists, they also accept Krishna as Bhagavan. It's not that they deny. But they say that Krishna is Bhagavan, but his energies, his power, his activities, they are also coming from Maya. And not transcendental. Transcendental thing is only Brahman. So all the demigods and all the avatars, they are all products of Maya. There is one statement by book, forget the name of the book. It's a famous book of Advaitavad. So there the author says that the cow which is called Maya gives birth to 2 children. One is Bhagavan and one is Jiva. Both are children of Maya. So he says that this is not proper. Those who are explaining this, they are bhanta, they are confused. Indrasya maya iyamiti indro maya vrishabho bhavati ityukte indrasya vrishrupatvameva swamaya kritam pratiyete natu indratvam yatha tathaiv seyam bhagavato maya iti bhagavan eva maya vishvam bhavati ityuktva bhagavato vishvarupatvam mayikam syat natu bhagavatvam iti yuktescha. He also gives a logic. There are statements in the Upanishad that this is Indra's Maya. Or Indro Maya bhi Pururupam iyate. Indra manifests many forms through his Maya. Or Indra became Vrishabha, a bull, by Maya. So he says when Indra becomes bull by the Maya, then it is the bull only which is the Maya, not Indra. Indra himself is free from the Maya. He is not made of Maya. If he takes a form of bull by Maya, then it is the bull only which is made of Maya, not the Indra. So in the same way, when it is said that Lord creates this world by Maya, Mayanam Mahabhage Edam Nirmave Vidhu, then it does not mean that he himself is Maya. Maya is separate, but he is Bhagavan. So his Bhagavata or his Godhood is not Maya. That is to be understood. This is the logic. So it is only through Maya which undergoes transformation and becomes the cosmic person. So I will stop here. He is going to ask more question on this point only. This point he is going to, this question which he is asking Vidura, he will add more things to it. But how is it really possible that God can actually create with this Leela. He will come to Leela again. And he will go into such whether you consider from time or space or does not make sense.
Because if that at one point with Bhagavan and the energy that they have to be in contact in order that the energy is functioning. So then you can say it in different ways, but if there is no contact, because he's made by one type of energy and the other one never comes in contact with him, where is the beginning?
This is the interesting question. That's where the logic stops. So the first thing he will say, Sayam Bhagavato Maya Yan Nayena Viruddhyate. And this is Lord's Maya, that it works beyond logic or against logic. But you can do that.
Superior to logic, no? So, superior to logic is the human mind, no? So your mind is also limited.
Yes. So
So
unless we accept that God is superior to logic, we don't understand God.
Of course. It's a great contrast with philosophy.
That's why Western philosophers, they don't consider Indian philosophy as philosophy. They think this is all religion. This is not philosophy.
So they don't understand what is religion, I think, because they think a religion is some superstition, no?
Yes.
Something
Or
primitive.
religion is something which is not logical.
That you have to believe in things.
Philosophy has to be constructed based on certain premises and it has to follow logic. So then
It has to be proven over and over.
well, philosophy may not have proof, but you have to construct your philosophy based on certain parameters in a very logical manner. You cannot just say, well, this is transcendental, achintya, and accept it. And then that is not philosophy.
And about one question about the soul, that because of all these senses and the object of the senses and the mind, who brings these three things in harmony, and they get their own vibration, whatever you has explained, and this gives also knowledge and action within the time. But see that the soul, you told that the soul cannot acquire knowledge through the senses or something, right?
Through the senses,
Yeah.
it cannot acquire knowledge without senses also.
So then, because also people can think that the knowledge is already in the soul, because the soul is something like spiritual energy, and spiritual energy is complete, and so the soul has already the knowledge.
They want to think like this, they can think. If soul has knowledge, then why we have to study?
And also this type of study, you acquire knowledge through the senses anyway.
But the knowledge is not going into the soul. That's what I said, the knowledge is also outside.
It doesn't go into the soul. So means that the soul is only giving something like energizing the senses and the mind, and that's it.
Yes. Just turning on the key.
All these questions are basically the views of the Gyan Marg.
Which one?
All these different questions
Yes.
are the views of the Gyan Marg. In a sense, he's putting them out so they can be dismantled
because this is one of the jobs Bhagavatam does. Gyanmar is called the chief opponent of bhakti. So it has to be deconstructed to the very root. And then you see that there is nothing.
But it also shows that 5,000 years ago, the Ganmard must have been already.
All minds existed all the time. You see, this whole idea that all these sutras were written in this period and yoga, this is only going through cycles. Because Patanjali himself, who wrote these sutras, say around 2200 or 300 years ago, at least in Western people accept that. It may be even older than that, but at least they accept this much time, that it is after Buddha. But he himself says, Atha Yoga Anusasanam, the very first sutra. That now I am going to explain Yoga Anusasana. And Anusasana, the very word signifies that he is not creating it himself.
Repeating.
But Anu means following, and Shasana is Shastra, and there is already something existing, and I am following that. So that means yoga was already there before Patanjali. He only made a book, systematized it. And one of the reasons which is possible is that when Buddha came, he became very prominent in India. And at the same time there were also Mahavir Jain. They were contemporaries. And they both were preaching, which was not done before. And both came from royal families. Both were princes. Mahavir was also a prince. And both preached against Vedic religion. So then, and both were very successful and got a lot of followers. Of course, Mahavir was not as successful as Buddha. Buddha was more successful in comparison. So when they became successful, then Vedic religion became weak and felt a threat. So it fell upon them to systematize their books, which were all basically nothing was written, which were with teachers in their mind. People were going and studying. So then the need arose to write sutras, then write Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Gautamya Sutra, this Sutra, so that it becomes now formulated. People study, and if they have to debate, then they can systematically go through it. So it does not mean that before that yoga was not there, or Nyaya was not there, or Advaita Vedanta was not there. Everything was there. But everything became more systematic after Buddha. And the reason was this, that they have to do it if they wanted to protect. Because before that, they were all debating with each other, but they were all part of Vedic fold. They were all astikas. So this was the first time. Charvak, we don't know when he was, whenever he was, but at least historically it is not known. So Charvak is supposed to be a Vedika, Nastika, but is not known, so nothing much is known historically about him. But we know about Buddha, we know about Mahavir, and they both were a Vedic, Nastika. So when their attack came, then everything came into a system. Different schools in literature. It is written. So in that sense, when they say that sutras was written in this age, that age, there is some truth in that. Only problem is the thing that before that nothing existed. Because here the whole system of parampara was by hearing. And things were, they will hear, study, they will add also their experience. But once the sutras were formulated, then that became the standard thing. So whatever was there before Patanjali, that got lost. So same thing also happened with Panini's grammar. Because Panini himself refers to other grammarians. But his system, he made a system. And because he made it more systematic than probably anything else which was existing, then that survived and became popular.
Is it possible, Swamiji, that the Charvakas were not a real group of people, but just only a dialectical viewpoint? What do you think? They
No,
did
it is
exist
also,
as
that is also
as a
possible.
community.
It is possible that way also, but it is also possible that some people were there. That there have been all types of people. And in the Vedas itself, you can find statements which seem to support Charvaka. So when you don't understand the true import, and you always have the tendency to interpret according to your concept, then you can take that and start your own school or following.
Mhm.